Well, I think it's a disgrace that there's no opposing candidate. And, of course, I was available to the Democrats. But, hey, they don't want to have anyone on the ticket. And maybe they have some deal going with you, John.
Oh, here we go again.
I don't know. Is it some sort of agreement so you can get to your full retirement
Here
and
we go
medical
again.
benefits? Anyway, I'll be on the ballot as a write-in. And you can always write in. And this year I'm actually going to run a campaign. I'm going to raise money on my website. And at the next meeting I'll release the web address. And maybe we'll see. Maybe some people will smarten up and know that, you know, it's nice to have a supervisor who knows what he's doing. Bulk pickup is a good way to save money. I tell you, I don't like all the restrictions. I don't even put anything out for bulk pickup. Last year we spent $250. We rented a dumpster. We put a whole bunch of stuff in. There was no regulation or rule about how big it should be, how it should be wrapped, what could go in, what can't go in. And I suggest a bunch of people to get together and rent some dumpsters and put all their stuff in there, and they wouldn't have to comply with all these ridiculous regulations that prevent most anything from getting in there. Anyway, the Night Out Against Crime, my sons and I have volunteered for a couple of years, and I think it's a great event. And I think aside from going there to get free things and stuff like that, people should also be there to welcome and get to know their neighbors, people they don't normally see during the course of their life in Wallkill. I think that's one of the most important things for that event. Now, it's interesting to know that you don't have to be a Wallkill veteran to be on the monuments here, and I guess that goes right to the election. You don't have to be a Wallkill resident to be in the election. I think that's very interesting. We have a mysterious candidate in the first ward who is a resident of New York City, voted here, even being a resident of New York City. He's on the Board of Trustees of the IOLA in the city, verified just a week ago that he was a New York City resident. He just filed 7/21/2009. This is just like a week ago. His registration with the court administration with a New York City resident. So here's a guy who's running for office in the town of Wallkill who voted here on an absentee ballot from Alexandria, Virginia, who is, and there's plenty of documentation, a New York City resident and a resident of Alexandria, Virginia. I think that's, what do we call that, felony election fraud? We got also a bunch of campaign contributions to people like Vito Facelli in Staten Island, all with the New York City address. And maybe his contributions to Vito Facelli helped him get that New York City PD towing contract. That's oh so profitable. And also the contract to remove debris and hide it from the World Trade Center. You know, the Swedish people found thermite in some of the debris that they got their hands on. Several businesses, the kinds of, you know, real estate businesses we don't really find very wholesome. You condemn and strip out affordable housing and make it into luxury apartments and high-rent residences. I gave that information to a couple of my friends in Brooklyn, and they're going to start looking into this. I think the most interesting connection is Vito Facelli and the towing contracts. So we have a candidate who doesn't live here, who doesn't show up except, you know, when he comes down to the city. Now, of course, he's not here today because he probably couldn't make the train. But also we have a candidate who's apparently guilty of election fraud, which is a felony, and an attorney. He should know much better than that. I think the voters in the town of Wallkill have to really watch out in this upcoming election. We have a big deficit here, and last week last meeting it was laid on the town board members. But we have a guy up there, John Ward, who gets paid what, $5,000, $7,000 extra to be the chief budget officer. You're the ones in charge of the budget. You're the one who makes things work, right? You're supposed to, but you still use the same old law firm, and it was their vague wording of the contract that lost us a deal on the town hall sale. Maybe we should be asking for some repayment for the liability of their poor action. Maybe we should be looking for another attorney. I know that Mr. King had asked the town board to look for another attorney, and John Ward, you didn't want to have that. You like spending all that extra money for attorneys? I don't know. So I guess my time's up. I think I covered enough for tonight, but hey, I'll be back.
I'm sure you will.